Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. I wrapped my arms around his waist and gently kissed him, but he just bit his cigarette and turned away. "Stop it or I'll choke on you later," he warned. "Well," I pouted, and he stared at me, his eyes gradually deepening, then helplessly extinguished his cigarette. He held my chin and kissed me fiercely. The smoke rushed into my nostrils, making me tear up. Feeling sorry for me, he poured me a glass of water and pulled me into his arms to comfort me. "Silly girl, I told you not to force it." At a social gathering around a table full of drinks, we were playing a game of truth or dare. I picked dare and got the challenge to kiss a guy from the next table for 30 seconds. Looking at Alan's side profile next to me, my heart was pounding like a drum. I liked Alan, everyone knew that. The people around us were cheering and urging me to kiss Alan. "Hurry up. Kiss him. Kiss him. Oh, we want to see." I held the card, looking at Alan hopefully. But Alan kept his head down, silent and unmoved. 10 seconds. 20 seconds passed. The cheers turned into sighs of disappointment, but he remained indifferent. Across from us, Alan's goddess Arya looked displeased. She directly slammed her glass down and declared she was done playing. Alan's face showed concern and he finally spoke up. "Selena, I've always thought of you as just a regular friend." "A regular friend?" Something in my heart shattered. So he sends good morning and good night messages to just a regular friend, lets a regular friend order takeaway for him 3 times a day, asks a regular friend for gifts every holiday. "Alan, can't you say something meaningful to me? Do you really have no feelings at all for me?" I suppressed the bitterness in my heart as I asked him, but Alan's attention wasn't on me at all. He was only focused on comforting his goddess. In that moment I felt like a joke. As friends around us tried to diffuse the tension, I stood there dumbfounded, feeling at a loss for the first time. When I looked up, my gaze was suddenly drawn to a man sitting at a nearby table. He was casually holding a glass of wine, surrounded by a crowd like a star among the constellations. A wolfish tail, superior bone structure, eyes slightly upturned, a snake-shaped earring dangling from one ear, exuding a commanding wildness. "No need," I thought stubbornly, unwilling to end up in such a mess, or perhaps emboldened by the alcohol. Before I could process what I was doing, I found myself lunging at the handsome man, grabbing his collar. "Sorry, may I kiss you?" I whispered, not even waiting for his response. Stealing my resolve, I kissed him forcefully. Everyone around us stood there dumbfounded, their eyes wide as saucers, witnessing this unexpected turn of events. In those moments, my mind went blank. The only thing I could clearly perceive was the soft, cool lips of the guy. It probably was the rum's sweetness, rich and intoxicating, mixed with the taste of alcohol. "Have you had enough?" His cold voice startled me, making me shudder. "How long were you planning on staying on top of me?" "Oh, enough, enough." I blushed as I regained my senses, ready to get off him. Unexpectedly, my hair got tangled in his earring. Frantically trying to untangle it, my efforts only made it worse. Feeling his impatience, I tearfully pleaded for help. "My hair is stuck." Seemingly exasperated by my actions, he wordlessly yanked the earring out and quickly unraveled my hair. Seeing how embarrassed I looked, he angrily slammed his glass on the table and grumbled, "Hold back your tears," before getting up and leaving. The sound of shattering glass caught my attention. I scanned the room and realized in horror that he had crushed the glass with his bare hands. Someone in the crowd gasped, "Oh my God, that's Jeffrey." My heart trembled along with the realization. As Jeffrey's friend passed by me, he whistled loudly. "Wow, you've got guts daring to kiss our Jeffrey. You're the first one." I felt like crying but had no tears left. Oh no, the gorgeous guy I kissed turned out to be Jeffrey. I was doomed. The next day, I was awakened from my sleep by my roommate. "Selena, wake up. You've been put on the confession wall." She handed me her phone. The forum was abuzz. Jeffrey's 108th girlfriend, finance major Selena. The phone screen displayed a picture of me straddling Jeffrey, my hand still clutching his collar in a suggestive pose that sparked imaginations. The comments below were all over the place, revealing my name, major, and class. I sighed in despair. "Selena, try to see the positive in this. At least you got to kiss Jeffrey. That's something many girls only dream of," my roommate comforted me. Yes, it's Jeffrey. Who would have thought? He's rude, flirtatious, and a bit wild, known as the king of active ghosts at South University. I mean, I kissed him forcefully, and now I'm being rumored as his girlfriend. This might end up with my body being left in the wilderness, I lamented. Utterly despondent, I walked out for a stroll. Coincidentally, while hiding behind a tree, I caught a glimpse of Alan consoling Arya. Selena and I have no relationship at all. She's been pestering me. Can't you see how she forcefully kissed someone yesterday? How could I like a girl like her who has no value? I overheard Alan belittling me. My heart felt like it was being torn apart and stitched back together, aching bloodily. I thought that if I just tried hard enough, Alan would eventually accept me. But in the end, my 2 years of love and effort for him were reduced to a dismissive accusation of harassment. Tears swelled in my eyes. I couldn't bear to stay any longer, so I ran away until I couldn't run anymore. Having my affection trampled like that was beyond painful. Leaning against the wall, I cried, not knowing how long it was until it was dark outside and it started raining. But I didn't want to go back to the dorm. My roommate had advised me before. The person who truly likes you wouldn't keep you in uncertain situations. Alan was just using me as a backup. I didn't believe it, but now I was in such a sorry state. Jeffrey, who was it that kissed you yesterday? Selena. My heart skipped a beat. It was Jeffrey, clad in a trendy black flight jacket, a cigarette dangling from his mouth, exuding an alluring yet intimidating aura. His group of friends were all stunned to see me, the beauty chasing after love in the rain, crying as if in a tragic love story, is making me feel moved. Who can resist such charms? Indeed, Jeffrey finally gave in to her. My heart raced. Let's reward her with praises for one night. Jeffrey bristled, tossing his coat over my head. What are you doing here, crying your eyes out? I was in the wrong place. I stood up to leave, but my wrist was grabbed by a pair of warm hands. What's the matter? His voice was light with a hint of playfulness. Can you let go? You're making me uncomfortable. I pleaded softly. The air felt heavy for a moment. Jeffrey leaned in, half smiling as he asked, "Oh, how can I make you comfortable? You." I blushed and looked away awkwardly. Jeffrey. What? He said lightly with a hint of teasing. I whispered, "Can you let go? You're making me uncomfortable." The frozen sky, the howling night wind. After a while, I heard him suddenly mutter a curse under his breath. Damn. He sounded fierce but also somewhat resigned. Little white-eyed wolf. Neither my mom nor my sister has ever treated me like this. I must have owed you big time in my past life. He wasn't angry. What's going on? Before I could ponder further, he took me into the swimming pool in a daze. At the entrance of the shower room, Jeffrey threw a white shirt and shorts at me. Put them on later. I instinctively took them, feeling surprised. He actually gave me his clothes to wear. What, you dislike them? Jeffrey stared at me coldly, saying, "Wear it if you want." Help, he misunderstood. I was just thinking this shirt is so new. Will he still want it after I wear it? Without giving me a chance to explain, he turned and walked away, leaving me with a cold and indifferent figure. I was perplexed. Are all school tyrants so unpredictable in their moods? 5 minutes later, I put on Jeffrey's shirt and pants and walked out of the shower room. I raised my hand and shook it, finding one sleeve empty. Jeffrey leaned against the door, beckoning me over. I obediently moved closer. He grabbed my hand directly and rolled up the sleeve for me. After fixing it, he mischievously messed up my hair, laughing. "You little cat, how dare you wear adult clothes?" He seemed to be speaking in a teasing tone, making me shiver. I came back to my senses, my face immediately turning red. Stiff as a wooden man. A group of boys finished swimming and came over to change clothes. Seeing the two of us standing so close, they were dumbfounded. And then they smiled at each other. "Wow, Jeffrey. Have you two gotten together so quickly? Should we start calling you sister-in-law from now on?" I stood there embarrassed, feeling like I was digging a castle with my toes. "Say one more word and I'll sew your mouth shut," Jeffrey scolded them angrily. He was fierce, scaring me into silence. Everyone fell silent, considerately walking into their own cubicles to change clothes. I glanced sideways, catching a glimpse of Jeffrey turning around, raising his hand towards me. I unconsciously trembled. Jeffrey paused immediately, raising an eyebrow. Are you afraid of me? I lowered my head, hesitated for a while before nodding. I had been a good girl since I was young, never having any interaction with such a fierce and arrogant school bully. How could I not be afraid? I heard a short laugh above my head. Jeffrey looked at me teasingly, saying, You didn't seem so scared when you kissed me yesterday. Thinking back to last night, my face flushed red again. I'm sorry. I apologize, I said softly, reciting my prepared speech. I drank too much last night. I'm really sorry. But can you clarify our relationship on the confession wall? Before I could finish, Jeffrey frowned and said, What wall? Haven't you seen the confession wall? I impatiently clicked my tongue. What do I care about this thing? I showed him my phone, and after a quick glance, his face darkened. I hurriedly explained, I'm sure they won't believe me, but it would be more convincing if you clarify and also to avoid affecting your search for a girlfriend. I thought my reason was very convincing. You're so considerate. But why do I feel like you're even more upset now? Jeffrey retorted. Don't worry, at the rate I change girlfriends, by tomorrow you won't be the rumored girlfriend anymore. With that, he walked away again, leaving me with a puzzled look. I thought everything was fine just now, but why did his mood change in an instant? Is he a scumbag, turning his face so quickly? Jeffrey came back, seeing me standing there staring at him. He muttered under his breath. Damn. Then he opened his mouth sternly. I'm angry. Didn't you notice? Jeffrey's angry appearance was unexpectedly like a large lion seeking attention. Help! Why does he seem even more handsome when he's angry? But why is he angry? I didn't know why he was angry, but to avoid making him angrier, I apologized obediently. I'm sorry. I was wrong. Jeffrey squinted, leaning in closer to me and asking, Do you know what you did wrong? I honestly shook my head. I don't know, but if you're angry, then I must be wrong. He stared at me and couldn't help but chuckle. If you don't know, then what's the point of apologizing? He scolded me unkindly. Forget it, you're so dumb. I don't expect you to understand. I'm not dumb. I held up a finger and retorted softly. I'm top in my major. You are dumb. You only know how to study and nothing else. He lightly patted my head with a mischievous look. I rubbed my head in frustration. Why is he launching a physical attack on me now after a magical attack? The rain had stopped outside. Jeffrey gave me a disdainful look. Not leaving? Planning to stay here as a statue? Then he casually walked past me with his hands in his pockets. After a few steps, I remembered something and called out to him. Jeffrey. He stopped in his tracks, not turning around. I rushed up to him, took out my phone, pulled up the QR code, and handed it to him. Let's exchange WeChat so I can return your clothes to you easily. Oh, he replied. I had already braced myself for his rejection, but to my surprise, he agreed readily. However, he still hadn't said a word. I couldn't help but ask, Haven't you added me yet? He replied, 6. I looked up in confusion, meeting Jeffrey's playful gaze. How much money does it take to be your top friend, huh? I took a closer look and realized I had given him my WeChat payment code. I awkwardly smiled. This was actually a me. Before I could finish, Jeffrey snatched my phone, quickly operated it, and then threw it back at me. Authoritative and domineering. As the phone fell into my hands, a familiar robotic female voice sounded. Alipay received 52,000 yen. OMG, this is literally being extravagant with money. In my shocked expression, Jeffrey smirked. Do I qualify to be your top friend now? Enough, enough, enough. I was starry-eyed. Jeffrey smiled satisfactorily with a haughty and smug look. I quickly glanced at my phone. Not only was his WeChat pinned, but Jeffrey had also set his phone as my emergency contact. I was dumbfounded. Why did he spend so much money just to top my list? What was his motive? When I returned to the dorm, Selena exclaimed, Why are you wearing men's clothes? My roommate approached, looking shocked. It was raining, and I ran into Jeffrey and he gave me this. I lay on my bed, feeling like a fish out of water. What? Jeffrey gave you that? My roommate was surprised. You two are even wearing matching clothes. Your relationship is progressing so quickly. I blinked. Matching clothes. Don't you know Judujia? My roommate explained. That brand is high-end custom-made. I've only seen it in magazines. This is their latest matching couple outfit. I was taken aback. Maybe he got it by mistake, I tried to defend. He gets an expensive custom-made outfit, not the kind you can just take casually. He must have put a lot of thought into it, my roommate pointed out bluntly. My ears turned red, denying repeatedly. No, it's not like that. Stop talking nonsense. I shook off the unrealistic thoughts in my head and mumbled, how much does this set cost anyway? I remember it's tens of thousands. Tens of thousands? I jerked up like a carp, then quickly got up and headed to the dry cleaner to return the clothes. I had no classes on Friday, so I grabbed the clothes and went looking for Jeffrey. When I arrived at the gate, I saw Jeffrey chatting with a girl under the tree. The girl was wearing a sundress with a hot figure. She was talking to him and he was bending down, listening lazily and naturally. The girl gently picked the leaves off his hair. They looked so compatible. Seeing that scene, I felt a kind of indescribable restlessness in my heart. I fled in a hurry. Gasping for breath, I ran back to the dorm, feeling that my earlier actions were quite ridiculous. I wasn't Jeffrey's formal girlfriend. Why was I feeling jealous and upset? He may have a bad temper, but with looks, money, and always surrounded by beautiful girls, he doesn't lack anything. I lay back on the bed, sending a message to Jeffrey. When are you free? I'll return your clothes to you. He replied instantly. Anytime. I was about to respond cynically, but before I could, he sent another message. I'm at the field. You can come now. Okay. I got out of bed, put the clothes in a bag and left. Unexpectedly, on the way, I ran into Alan and Arya. They were walking hand in hand, looking very close. I just stood there for a moment. No jealousy, no sadness, no disappointment, just a sense of relief. Ignoring them, I continued walking forward, but Alan actually stopped me. Selena, have you really gotten together with Jeffrey? Gotten together? Please watch your language, I replied calmly, meeting his gaze. Besides, this has nothing to do with you, right? It seems you have. He smirked, seriously advising me. Just because I didn't accept you doesn't mean you have to be stubborn and get together with a playboy like Jeffrey. It's really not necessary. Girls should understand self-respect and self-love. Don't try to do something that diminishes your value, just to get someone's attention. After listening to his words, I felt a chill in my heart. Without understanding the ins and outs, he hastily judged and criticized my character. It turned out that he was the person I had liked for 2 years. Arya nudged Alan's arm and added fuel to the fire. Alan, Selena wouldn't appreciate your good intentions. She's not like me, a girl who enjoys pure love. Jeffrey is rich and fun. She has clear goals. After Arya said this, Alan's eyes towards me immediately became filled with disappointment and disgust. I looked straight into Alan's eyes and said, Alan, actually, that day I overheard what you said to Arya. A hint of panic flashed in Alan's eyes and I continued. Before that, I still had a bit of a fantasy about you. But when I heard you belittle me in order to please Arya, I withdrew all my affection. Because you are not deserving. Before Alan could speak, Arya laughed out loud. So you don't like Big Brother anymore? Do you like Jeffrey? Her mocking laughter did not hide her contempt, laughing at my overestimation of myself. Come on, do you really think you've transformed into a phoenix on a branch? Jeffrey is just playing with you. You don't think he's really interested in you, do you? Who says I'm not interested? Suddenly, a rude and domineering voice rang out. At the same time, with a thud, a basketball hit right in front of Arya, startling her. Jeffrey! I couldn't believe it as I looked up. Jeffrey's tall figure was bathed in light, like a wild wolf lurking in the dark night, emanating a dangerous aura all over. Bullying my girlfriend? Do you think I'm dead? He pulled me behind him, glaring at Arya and Alan. Apologize or face the consequences. Choose. Jeffrey's tone was low but full of coercion. The two of them immediately paled. Jeffrey's appearance was too outstanding, and his reputation at school was well known. No one dared to provoke him and no one could. This commotion had already attracted quite a few onlookers. I don't want to lose face. I tugged on Jeffrey's sleeve and gently called out to him. Can you take me away from here? Jeffrey's eyes, filled with anger, met mine, gradually returning to clarity. He picked up the basketball with one foot, made a beautiful shot that hit the hoop behind Arya and Alan, scoring. The ball hit the ground heavily, making a dull thud. Jeffrey looked at the two of them and issued a warning. There won't be a next time. Jeffrey took me to a motorcycle nearby. The black body of the motorcycle emitted a cold and cool light, exuding arrogance. He tossed me a helmet. Put it on. I asked him softly. Where are we going? Upon hearing my question, he leaned over, tousled my hair with his hand, and smiled mischievously. Be good. I'll take you to a fun place. My face instantly turned red, feeling uncomfortable with his teasing. Jeffrey chuckled and then started the engine. When he found out I hadn't gotten on, he turned to me and said, Don't just stand there. Get on the bike. Putting on the helmet, I hesitated in front of the bike. Is this safe? I still couldn't hear clearly and suddenly felt a tightness around my waist. Suddenly, I was lifted onto the back seat by him. Still reeling from the shock, the motorcycle suddenly started moving forward. Oh! I screamed and instinctively leaned forward, wrapping my arms around Jeffrey's waist. Then I heard his triumphant chuckle as he held on tight. I was both anxious and angry, blushing with embarrassment. He was clearly doing it on purpose. So annoying. Jeffrey took me to a mountain off-road racing track. I had never been to such a place before and was curiously looking around. Jeffrey held the back of my neck like a kitten and brought me to his side. Don't look around, stay close to me. Shrinking my neck, I replied, Okay. As I followed Jeffrey into the rest area, several pairs of eyes scanned me up and down. Then there were playful remarks one after another. Jeffrey is so cool. First time I've seen you bring a girl here. Shouldn't we introduce her? A large hand covered my head, and Jeffrey looked down at me saying slowly, showing the little girl the world. Don't you think it's time to introduce yourself? The group was dumbfounded and I was confused too. When did I become a little girl? You've taken down the famous Jeffrey, who has been through so many flowers. Oh, Jeffrey is changing his taste, going for the innocent look. The playboy turning over a new leaf isn't cool. They started teasing again. Feeling a little embarrassed, I said, Enough, quiet down. Jeffrey's icy face was really intimidating at that moment. Everyone quickly fell silent. David asked Jeffrey for his opinion. Jeffrey, the usual rules? Yeah. Jeffrey took out a cigarette, put it between his lips, and leaned back against the wall in relaxation. What usual rules? I asked curiously. David took over. The loser of the race has to pay for a car. Those who don't want to pay have to kneel down and call him Dad. I chuckled at how rich people dared to gamble. Why, worried that Jeffrey might lose? David teased me. He has never lost, he's always the top. Miss, do you want to be Jeffrey's co-pilot? Experience his amazing driving skills firsthand. Me. I was a good girl who had never experienced the thrill of racing. To be honest, I was a bit tempted. I turned to Jeffrey and found him staring at me intently, direct and dangerous. I suddenly felt unsure and asked in a weak voice, Can I go? Up to you. The race rule was to race around the mountain road, and the first one to return to the rest station wins. Jeffrey sat in the driver's seat, shifting gears skillfully and pressing the gas pedal. A dark-clad youth exuded an intimidating aura. His eyes and eyebrows were so arrogant, and his gaze was devoid of respect. This was Jeffrey. Have you ever raced before? He suddenly asked me. No, I shook my head. Not afraid. I fumbled with the seatbelt. Don't know. You'll get on my car without knowing the dangers? Not afraid something might happen. Jeffrey chuckled. Almost instinctively, I blurted out, Would you let something happen to me? No. He looked at me. His gaze was focused and seemed to be filled with endless tenderness. For some reason, my heart started beating faster. Jeffrey was really talented. With just a gaze, he could bewitch people. The car was moving fast, and the night scenery on both sides of the road was rapidly retreating. The stars and moon disappeared. During this time, my brain was almost in a state of stagnation. Why wasn't he saying anything to me? Jeffrey's scorching and enticing breath was in my ear. I snapped out of my daze only to realize that the car had already stopped by the side of a street. I had been nervously biting my lower lip the whole time. Are you giving up on these beautiful lips? Jeffrey leaned over, using his index finger to lift my chin gently, looking slightly annoyed. The position was too intimate. I was nervous and my voice trembled. Please. Please what? He leaned closer. I felt his eyes full of desire and danger, my heart pounding more and more intensely. Jeffrey, if you don't leave, you'll lose the race. I tried to divert his attention. I've already won. He fell silent. Selena. Jeffrey stared at me. His eyes were red, and his voice was hoarse and restrained. I want to enjoy the spoils of victory. Can I? What? Before I could even process, I was pushed down by him. Jeffrey held my chin, pressed his body against mine, and kissed me deeply. He kissed me fiercely, wildly, and suffocatingly. My mind went blank. The world was spinning around me. Jeffrey. I couldn't resist. My hand tried to push him away. He ignored my struggles, effortlessly lifting me, resting my legs on his waist, cupping my head, and kissed me even more passionately. He tortured me until I was weak all over, no longer able to push him away. I surrendered myself to this dominant and lingering kiss. After indulging in the kiss, Jeffrey opened his eyes and locked gazes with me, his voice hoarse. Do you know I want to do this and it's driving me crazy? My head was spinning, unable to think straight. Playing with my fingers, Jeffrey whispered. Selena, be with me. There are many benefits. I'll listen to everything you say. Everything about me will be yours. A person who was always arrogant and self-confident, at this moment, his eyes were filled with a soft, broken light. It was confusing, stirring up emotions wildly. But then I remembered the rumors about Jeffrey. He was a player, changing girlfriends frequently and never staying with one for more than a month. How could a playboy like him ever be interested in me? Someone who couldn't possibly make him stay. I forced myself to regain my composure. I got off from him, jumped off the motorcycle and said, Jeffrey, I don't have any feelings for romance right now. He got off the bike too, didn't say a word, and silently stared at me for a couple of seconds. His gaze then turned cold. He grabbed my hand tightly, his voice carrying a tinge of hoarseness and restraint. What do you mean? Is it what you're thinking? I was the one who initiated contact with him. He gnashed his teeth, looking at me angrily. Are you here to cause trouble and then abandon me, Selena? I'm sorry. I lowered my head, suppressing my emotions. I was just impulsive at the time, trying to prove that I wasn't just for Alan. After saying this, Jeffrey's face turned completely cold. So you got close to me out of revenge against him? His words were sharp and filled with anger. What do you think I am? Do you want to play with me? And if you're not interested, just kick me aside like a dog. Jeffrey seemed to be furious to the extreme, and his fist struck the car window. The glass shattered with a loud noise. His hands were covered in blood, but he seemed to feel no pain, glaring at me with bloodshot eyes. Jeffrey, please don't be like this. My eyes stung and my heart felt torn apart. I was just scared. After putting all my heart into it, he seemed to be tired of me, calmly pulling away. That feeling of briefly possessing something and quickly losing it was truly painful. But I never meant to play with him. I guess I was just being overly emotional. Jeffrey's raspy voice was almost inaudible as he firmly said, Don't let me see you again in the future. Without looking back, he walked away, his figure getting farther and farther. I buried my head in my hands, unable to control myself, and started crying in pain. I was just a coward. After going back, I lost contact with Jeffrey. The post on the confession wall was also deleted. I guess it was Jeffrey's doing. A bitter feeling overwhelmed my heart. Such a proud person. I must have really disgusted him with my actions. I didn't care about the rumors and gossip anymore. I threw myself into my studies. Studying was all I focused on. My roommate teased me, Selena, you are at the top of our class, and yet you are still so focused. You've lost weight during this period. Let's go and have a good meal. It's not about being focused. Only by exhausting all my energy can I avoid thinking about Jeffrey. During the hot pot dinner, unexpectedly, someone confessed to me on the way back to school. It was my senior in the same major, George. Selena, are you planning to take the graduate entrance exam at Tsinghua? My family wants me to. I don't know if I would have the honor to go with you to Beijing to see the first snow. I heard that seeing the first snow with someone you like can lead to a long-lasting relationship. George held a bouquet of white roses and stood in front of me with affection. The people around us were cheering. Say yes. Say yes. My mind was in chaos. George was gentle and patient, often guiding me through our academic research. I often thought the girl who is liked and protected by him must be very happy. But at first I was so focused on Alan. Now my heart was already occupied by Jeffrey. Maybe we were never meant to be together. At that moment, a girl in the crowd suddenly exclaimed excitedly, "It's Jeffrey! So handsome!" I reflexively turned to look. A group of people was heading towards us from a distance. Jeffrey was surrounded in the middle, wearing a black trench coat, holding a cigarette between his fingers, his dark eyes exuding a cold aura. We locked eyes for a moment or two. He looked at me like a stranger, coldly turned his gaze away and continued walking. I withdrew my gaze and gently declined George's proposal. "Sorry, George. Thank you for liking me, but I can't accept your feelings. I already have feelings for someone else. I think your kindness suits another girl better," I said before uncontrollably running back. I only had one burning thought in my heart, to charge forward for love. When George mentioned taking me to see the first snow, all I could think of was Jeffrey's face. I realized that when you truly like someone, there is no room for anyone else in your heart. "Jeffrey." I rushed towards him, looked up at him, and he stopped and stared at me without making a move. I cautiously reached out to hold his hand. "Jeffrey, will you be my boyfriend?" He stiffened, looking at me with resentment. Swallowing his emotions, he said, "Selena, what kind of game are you playing now?" I momentarily suspected that Jeffrey really wanted to strangle me. Using my rejection of others? Or trying to test if I still have feelings for you? He was truly angry. I didn't. My heart ached like it was being pricked by needles. "I just want to date you." With more and more people around us, he lost patience. "Let go." I didn't release his hand, so he forcibly pulled my hand away. Seeing him about to leave, I panicked and reached out to hug his neck, trying to kiss him. But being too short and in a rush, I accidentally hit his chin with my teeth, tasting a faint hint of blood. He grunted and rolled his throat, cursing lowly. "You're asking for it. Don't regret it." Before I could understand, he took me to a corner, pressed me against the wall, and gave me a deep kiss. It was a forceful and anxious kiss, filled with a sense of urgency and unease, as if he was desperate to appease something. For the first time in my life, I felt weak in the knees. It was a double stimulation for my body and mind. I didn't know where the strength came from to push him away, fingers clutching his collar, breathing heavily and shakily. Scared. He shook his head. His lips lingered on mine, breath hitting my face heavily. "It doesn't matter." Not giving me a chance to catch my breath, the scorching sense covered us again, fierce and punitive. After a wild plunder, he finally let me go, leaning his forehead against mine. "Selena, I won't be someone's backup plan. You have to do 3 things if you want to date me." "What are they?" I asked, a little puzzled. "Don't lie to me, speak up when you're sad, and lastly, you must like me." The tenderness in his eyes almost drowned me. I suddenly felt like crying. "Okay, I promise." I had never imagined that I would be the last stop for a playboy, but I was willing to pay for my heart. Jeffrey finally relaxed his expression. The smile on his lips couldn't be contained. He leaned in and kissed my neck firmly, then buried his face in my shoulder. "You smell nice. You should be mine." I couldn't bring myself to look up. I was really with Jeffrey now. It felt surreal. I didn't even know how I made it back to my dorm room. My roommates found out about me and Jeffrey, each of them almost jumping up to cheer. Is this the sour smell of love? When will I ever get to experience sweet romantic love? "You're done for, Selena. You've completely fallen for him." Maybe. Jeffrey has really captivated me. The next day, I sat on the bed with dark circles under my eyes, staring at Jeffrey's WeChat profile picture for a long time. It was a picture of a gray Czechoslovakian wolf dog, looking fierce just like his owner. I tentatively sent a message. "What are you up to?" He quickly replied. "Missing me already?" My heart fluttered. How did he always hit the mark with his replies? As my phone rang again, I eagerly checked the message. "I'm here. Here. Here." I dashed out of bed and ran to the balcony to look down. Jeffrey leaned against a tree, smoking. Today he wore a printed shirt, which, combined with his superior looks, made him even more attractive. Passing girls kept stealing glances at him. He looked like a peacock spreading its feathers. "Oh my God, Selena, Jeffrey is here to pick you up, right? Help! Those girls are eyeing Jeffrey like he's prey. You need to go down and claim your territory." My roommates excitedly discuss what was happening. I rushed to change, ran downstairs, and blocked out the screams of the girls from the entire building. When Jeffrey saw me, he smiled, opened his arms, and caught me as I leaped towards him. I closed my eyes and enjoyed the moment. Finally, it felt real. "What are you here for?" I asked, looking up at him. What else could it be? Of course, to pick up my little girlfriend for dinner. Girlfriend. Haha, that term sounds so nice. 10 minutes later, Jeffrey took me to a barbecue restaurant. Once inside, I regretted it. It was crowded. It was filled with Jeffrey's friends and their girlfriends. As soon as they saw me, they started teasing. "Oh, Jeffrey brought your little friend over again. Jeffrey, does this mean you have to call her sister-in-law now?" Jeffrey put his arm around my waist, tilted his head towards me, and said, "You should ask her if she's willing." "What are you doing?" I felt a bit embarrassed. "What's the problem, girlfriend?" He turned his head and smiled, his hand on my waist tightening. I felt like I was boarding a pirate ship. His friends were all so outgoing. I thought Jeffrey would be mad at their words, but he just laughed it off, saying, "It's just a joke. I wouldn't call her that. My little lady is not a dog." I was stunned. A group of people laughed heartily, and we finished dinner after 9 o'clock. Jeffrey took me to the car. Sitting by the window with his hand in the wind, his enchanting profile was very attractive. The night was very quiet. However, I could hear the sound of my own heartbeat. I felt like I was under a spell. Moving closer, I kissed his cheek. Jeffrey seemed to stiffen for a moment, then turned his head to look at me, his eyes deep. "What are you doing? You want a kiss?" I boldly wrapped my arms around his waist and tilted my head to kiss his lips, but he turned away. "Stop it, I just smoked. I'll choke you later." "Jeffrey," I coquettishly said, "come on, give me a kiss, will you?" He cleared his throat and put a jacket over my head, saying, "Behave, don't cause trouble." I took off the jacket, feeling a bit absent-minded. "Jeffrey, are you still mad at me?" I mumbled with my head down. He couldn't help but chuckle. "Your head is full of nonsense. Just as you are." I felt a bit wronged. "You must have never been rejected before. The way I treated you, you must have hated me at that time." "Hate you? Ridiculous," he sighed. "Stop overthinking. Why don't you kiss me then?" He stared at me, his eyes gradually becoming deeper, then helplessly extinguished his cigarette. "You just know how to take advantage of me." Before I could react, he grabbed my chin, bent down, and kissed me fiercely. The smoke went straight into my nostrils, making me tearful. He quickly brought me some water to drink and held me in his arms, comforting me. "Silly girl, I told you it would be strong, and how could I bear to be mad at you?" He whispered in my ear, softening my heart. Jeffrey drove me to the seaside. There was a music festival going on. The atmosphere was lively. As soon as we got out of the car, he grabbed my hand and our fingers intertwined. He held my hand tightly, his palms even sweating. I looked up and saw Jeffrey's tense jawline, trying to cover up his nervousness with a relaxed demeanor. I called softly, "Are you nervous?" "So what?" He pursed his lips, taking a deep breath. "It's my first time holding a girl's hand." He paused, realizing it was the first time he held mine. "But, haven't you held hands with your ex-girlfriends before?" I asked, not daring to believe. He remained silent for a moment before gritting his teeth. "I've only dated you. Where did those rumors come from?" I was stunned. "But, rumors say you change girlfriends more often than you change clothes," I tentatively asked him. "Idiot," he chuckled, looking at me with a mixture of amusement and helplessness. "Do you also believe what they say online? They even say I eat children. Do you believe that too?" At that moment, I was pleasantly surprised. Turns out we were each other's first love. However, when he gets angry, he does look like he's going to devour me. Jeffrey held my hand and led me towards the stage. Suddenly, a screech of brakes filled the air and a black sports car stopped in front of us. A man and a woman got out of the car, walking towards Jeffrey and me. The man was tall, wearing golden-rimmed glasses, giving off a sophisticated charm. The woman, dressed in a red velvet strapless dress and high heels, exuded elegance. I almost recognized her at a glance. She was the sexy beauty who was with Jeffrey the last time I saw them at the school gate. Jack, Jeffrey suddenly spoke. So Emily was Jeffrey's sister. I was still in shock. Emily pulled me over, looking me up and down. You must be Selena, right? You're really pretty. No wonder you've got our Jeffrey so head over heels for you. Emily, stop talking nonsense or I'll call Mom and Dad, Jeffrey warned in a low voice. You brat, dare to threaten me? Emily glared at Jeffrey, not showing any respect. Emily's captivating peach blossom eyes were just like Jeffrey's. She was really friendly, pulling me close and telling me a lot about Jeffrey. You ignored him for some time. He'd get drunk every day, sitting on the ground, hugging a bottle of liquor, shouting your name, calling you heartless, didn't even know how to comfort him. He acts tough in front of others, but he's actually very childish. Jeffrey's face darkened. Have you said enough? What's wrong? Did I say something wrong? Emily scolded him impatiently, then turned to me. Selena, if Jeffrey bullies you, tell me. I'll teach him a lesson. I nodded, stifling a laugh. After Emily left, I couldn't stop laughing, my shoulders shaking. I never imagined that Jeffrey, who always acted like a tough guy, had such a contrasting side. Laughing? Is it funny? You heartless brat. He scolded me with no good humor. I nodded subconsciously. He turned and walked away, and I quickly reached out to pull him back. It's not funny. I was wrong. It's too late now, I'm angry. He didn't even lift his eyes. I tried to make amends, holding his hand and coaxing. So how can I make you not angry? Kiss me. Kiss me and we'll call it even. He put his hand in his pocket, smiling mischievously. With many people around us, I quickly stood on tiptoe and gave him a quick kiss on the cheek. That doesn't count, he smirked at me. Forgive you? 2 words, 1 word, 1 kiss. I'm not playing along, I replied. He teased. Fine, I don't need your kisses. He stared at me. Okay then, I'm leaving. I decided to play along as well and started to walk away. But he grabbed me and pulled me back, kissing me deeply. That's Jeffrey for you. Domineering and cheeky. My face turned red from the intense kiss, and my eyes were watery. He wiped away my tears with a smile. Are you so easy to bully? I pushed away his hand. You jerk. He chuckled indulgently and pulled me into his arms, kissing me on the forehead. The jerk loves you. We entered the music festival venue. Jeffrey squeezed my hand and told me, I'll be back in a moment. Wait here for me like a good girl. I nodded, not knowing what he was up to. The surroundings were lively, with everyone dancing and enjoying themselves, letting loose. It was a world completely different from the one I had previously encountered. It was Jeffrey's world. Suddenly, there was a burst of cheers in front of the stage. I instinctively looked over. Jeffrey was actually on stage. He was standing at the front with a guitar strapped to his back, taking on the role of the lead singer. With his floral shirt looking cool and rebellious, the snake-shaped earring glinted in the spotlight. He looked incredibly handsome. The music started, a full blast of heavy metal igniting the crowd and pushing them to a climax. Jeffrey sang an English song. 7%. His seductive voice sent shivers down people's spines. Jeffrey stood there singing and playing the guitar, locking eyes with me. A single glance from him could drive anyone crazy. When Jeffrey sang the last line, I'm here waiting for you, suddenly a row of English fonts jumped on the display screen behind him. Welcome to my world, Selena. The crowd erupted into deafening screams. My heart was pounding, filled with overflowing joy. Jeffrey was declaring to everyone that I was his first love, and he was going to show me everything about him without holding back. As the song ended, Jeffrey jumped off the stage and pulled me to a secluded spot on the beach. His throat was sweaty, his eyes shone brightly, and his smile was radiant. How about that, Does your man have feelings? I nodded vigorously. But do you know what you look like now, Jeffrey? I said with a straight face. What do I look like? His hand gently rubbed my lower back, tickling me. I pushed my toes to get closer to him. You look like a big dog wagging its tail and being playful. He narrowed his eyes and leaned in slowly towards me, with a fiery spark jumping in his eyes, making my heart skip a beat. Selena, you've really become bold. He held my waist and kissed me deeply, whispering in my ear as he breathed heavily, his voice tinged with hoarseness. Baby, A little dog called Jeffrey only wags its tail for you. Blushing, I covered my face and ran off. Jeffrey caught up with me, scooping me up into his arms. Selena, I'll give you everything, but you have to be good to me. You can't reject me. How can I be good to you? I asked him. The sea breeze tousled Jeffrey's hair as he gazed at me, his eyes fixed. In this lifetime, you can only have me in your eyes and heart. You can't be attracted to other men, nor can you look at them. Okay. My heart was full of Jeffrey in that moment. Jeffrey buried his face in my neck. You'd better say it. Say what? Say you love me, he urged me. I blushed, feeling shy. I love you. Say it again. I love Jeffrey, only love him the most. Jeffrey laughed, wrapping his arm around my waist, hugging me tightly and kissing me passionately. As the kiss deepened, he whispered in my ear, enchanting me. Selena, love me a little more and I'll give you my whole world, okay? Okay.